Calling to order the Hamilton County Council May council meeting. I want to have a roll call.
Yes, Brad Beaver.
Here.
Mark Hall.
Present.
Amy Mossalamani.
Present.
Ken Alexander.
Present.
Tim Griffin.
Here.
Sue Mackey.
Present.
Steve Nation.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Great. And to lead us in invocation pledge, Steve Nation.
Please stand and bow your heads. O Almighty Father, please bless and protect, lead and direct our citizens of this county and the members of this council as we serve you and our citizens. We ask this in the name of your dear Son. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from 4/5/2023?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do I have another one for the joint meeting on 3/13/2023?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Eleanor, do we have any comments? Do we have anyone signed up for comments tonight?
No.
Okay, seeing none. Moving on to committee reports. President's report. I first want to start off and just thank all the election volunteers, candidates, and those that participated in our election. It's an important aspect of what makes us Americans, and exercising that right and participating in that is extremely important. I was just always excited and when these days come along, and even more excited when they finish. Certainly when you have results before the end of the day. So thank you to all of them. Additionally, I just wanted to also mention there was an issue with one of our board appointments at a public meeting where they were accosted and verbally shouted at and back and forth. And I just want to say, we ask volunteers to step forward and act on our behalf in appointed positions throughout our community. We have to be better. We have to work on how we communicate and collaborate together, and having opportunities where we are at each other's throats. We might have differences of opinion, but there's a right way to deal with those issues. And I just want to say that from my own perspective, that I support every one of our appointments, and I will continue to do so. So, well, that's also I have, Vice President.
At this, I don't have anything specifically, but I do think it would be appropriate. Brad, I think you had maybe something to say under miscellaneous.
I'm gonna save it at the end.
Okay, then I will forego at this point, and I have nothing, sir.
Okay, Highway.
We did not meet.
Okay. Finance.
We did not have a finance meeting, but it seems like the appropriate time to go through this. If you'll look later in your agenda, you'll see a couple of different items that got struck. Between last meeting, this meeting, we had an ARPA meeting. The commissioners agreed with us that we would use $1 million from the ARPA fund to fund the override at the sewer plant at the campgrounds. That makes those additionals that were on our agenda no longer valid. The ARPA money will go straight from the ARPA funds to the Parks Department, so those actions are not necessary. At this time, I would like to, I don't know if I need to amend the agenda or just go right into it. I want to make a resolution that the county council would replace the $1 million in the earmark of affordable housing if and when a affordable housing project materializes in the time frame that's available. That money was earmarked for affordable housing. We're taking $1 million, moving it to the sewer plant. But if a viable affordable housing project materializes in the time frame, that we would make them whole with $1 million.
I second that motion for a resolution.
Well, so first off, you're The
I'm not
motion- the
sure I
motion-
need- I'm
The
not-
motion is you have to, you're making.
I'm
a-
not sure I have to amend the agenda to make a resolution.
I don't think so
I
either.
think I can just
I
make,
have an attorney that might be able to tell me whether he can.
Robert's rules of order would tell you our parliamentarian.
Parliamentarian, Steve, do you have any comment on that?
I think he can as a resolution, because he was up, he may just go ahead and make that, and with a second, I think we can go ahead and approve that without
Okay.
amending.
With that,
Chris.
Can I ask a question? You don't want a written resolution, you're just talking orally here right now.
it'll be on our record. No, it doesn't need to be written.
Yeah, I agree.
It'll be on the minutes of the county council
I
meeting.
agree with
Yep.
with Steve, go ahead.
Okay, with that, any other, with the motion and a second, is there any other comments? For the record, can you just quickly state it over again so we have it just clear?
We resolve that we will replace the $1 million that was earmarked with ARPA money for an affordable housing project that has not as yet materialized. We're gonna take $1 million of the 2.5 that's set aside for that and use it for the project at the campground. If a project materializes in the time frame of the ARPA guidelines, we will replace that $1 million with funds from other parts of the county budget.
Sue, is that,
Second, yes.
okay, any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I also want to say at some point in May, I want to have another finance
You need
meeting,
to.
so we'll work something out in May.
Sounds good. We're in May.
Okay. Personnel,
We did not, we had a poll, yeah, we did not meet, we had a poll, we can talk about it later in the meeting.
okay. Miscellaneous,
Yeah, I've got just a quick miscellaneous, about 2 weeks back, normally I get to be, my real day job, a firefighter, and I get to be proud of what we do as first responders and public safety. It was the first time now being a representative of the county that I got to be proud of some of our county employees. So we had a pretty large apartment fire, or condo fire in Carmel, and EMA came down and were fabulous. So we were taxed pretty heavy with all of our equipment. Several departments responded, and I was working and then I was kind of being liaison with a lot of those families that had been displaced from their homes. I had to leave to go do interviews for our new hires at the fire department. EMA came down along with our logistics chief. They really helped with making sure Red Cross was contacted, food for those people. Panera donated food, but we didn't have a way to get it. EMA went and got that and really took care of a lot of stuff. So first time in my side that I got to be proud of seeing what we do here on a different level. So it was really great. I want to thank all of them at EMA. They did a great job. So just a little quick round of applause for them. Really appreciate them. People don't know what they do. They do a lot when we need them. So thank you. And then one other, June 10th, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation is holding an event at Conner Prairie. It's called Take Steps. I'll be helping out someone that has ulcerative colitis, same family as Crohn's, but they're having an event there, so I'm emceeing it. But a nice event to come out, raise charity for those, especially kids that have that. So that's June 10th at Conner Prairie. So just thought I'd let people know. But thank you. That's all.
thank you. Any other comments?
Just to tag off what Tim was saying, though, it was a county employee that lost one of their homes in that fire. So I know the sheriff's department had collected clothing and funds. So if anyone wants to see the sheriff or his representative to help contribute to that.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to unfinished business. 2024 budget instructions. Budget instructions were sent out. There was a modification that was just made. Has that been distributed?
Yes, they've been distributed. Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Do we have to untable it first?
It wasn't, it's
It's,
unfinished.
yeah, if you look at it, the way that it was,
Okay,
it's the new one, the new
Then I
agenda.
second that motion.
So it was in front of you, you'll see that there was a couple revisions that were made. The comments that I had put in were really to drive organizational charts, some other things that would help us understand what the needs were from a staffing perspective, understanding what the metrics were that they track, that helps us with those, and trying to put those in a package so that we can, as we're reviewing those budgets come this year, we have a better understanding of the different departments and their roles. So you'll see that those notes in there. Any comments or questions with my comments or the others that were included? Okay, so with that, we had a motion to approve, right? And a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, great. Next item,
Mr. President,
yes, sir.
just a question on procedure. If an office holder doesn't understand or exactly what is needed in this, who should they contact? Would it be you or would it be?
Well, I'm always open for comments regarding the things that I'd mentioned, but I would say that for ease of just the communication, it should go through the auditor. And then if it's something that I put in, they can communicate with me.
Because some of these things have not been done before. Some of the office holders might say, what exactly do you need? And that would be the only thing that we can go ahead and be
So I
sure
think
to-
like the org charts, I mean, that's, if building those out and things of that nature, I mean, if that's the question.
Right.
I think any one of us could probably help.
So like, well, I'll just read them.
Can we put Ken's cell number right beside the orange part?
Sure, we can. I think I've got yours in here too. Okay, yeah, does that clarify that?
Yes. and I
Madam
just-
Auditor, does that sound okay?
And they're welcome to call me as well, so Ken doesn't get bombarded. I'm
Right.
happy to help field those calls if needed.
Or we could just send them all to Tim.
Thank you, perfect.
All right, moving on, new business. Do I have a motion to approve vendor claims?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Item 9B, Resolution CC 0503-2023-1, a resolution concerning the purchase of drainage easement for the Mary Wilson Drain Project.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item 9C, US 31 Overlay District Review Committee.
So we need to approve, it looks like they're wanting us to consider appointing.
Yeah, CJ Taylor. Do I have a motion to approve their,
They're asking for somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from us.
Somebody from us.
do I, yeah, but I
If
can't
you
act
got
tonight.
somebody, that's fine. I'm already on the planning commission. If you got if they haven't started meeting, the overlay has to do with our sewer plant up there. If you come up with somebody, let me know. If they start having meetings, I'll go.
Well, yeah,
You
so,
got- or do you have
does
somebody-
anybody here
Does
have
this-
interest
does
from
this-
council?
Does this need to be a council?
It
No, it does
indicate-
not.
Oh, okay, it says one member
Oh, I
from your
thought it-
council.
Previous communications, I believe it said it was a member
It was a
of
member of
this
council.
body.
Well, they'll probably get what we appoint, won't they?
Well, if
I'll go until.
I'm on 31, I'll be happy to participate in that,
That'd
since
be
that's
great.
part of my
Yeah.
district.
Perfect. Motion to approve that we appoint Ken as the member for the US 31
Second.
overlay district.
Third.
Second.
What did I just do?
There's
You have a motion and a second, sir.
Another reading.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Hi, thank you so much, Ken.
I'm not sure I can oppose it. Aye. All opposed? All right. Moving on, 2024 proposed council meeting dates and deadlines. Everyone had a chance to review that?
Second.
Everyone have a chance to review it? Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Next one, 9E, Resolution CC 0503-2023-.2, a resolution concerning the purchase of real estate for the Hamilton County Judicial Center project.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All right, does anyone have any comments about this? This is just regarding the expansion projects. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Moving on. Next item, Lee Buckingham has a request for developing job descriptions for a new position. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Lee?
Check the letter, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to read it. If you have, any questions, I'm here to answer.
When you're,
Copy of that record, of that letter for the record.
Yes.
uh,
Thank you.
you're gonna start the process, so that means you're starting at what, personnel? You're developing a job description, then go to personnel?
Correct.
Or no, they go to, personnel committee.
Yes.
That's right.
Personnel.
I had it right. Okay.
And then they'll come back.
Yep.
Are you asking for this? So will you ask for this for an approval in June? Or July, or what are you asking for?
Well, it
When are you
depends
asking us?
Right now, I'm asking for permission to start the process. If one new employees, we have to come to you first.
No, sure, I just didn't, obviously it's outside of budget, so you weren't waiting until August, right? So I assume that this is something that you're
It
then
is
wanting
something
prior
we're hoping to
to.
try and get in place before the 2024. Obviously, depending on how long everything takes, we may be back here in June. If everything falls into place, we'll be back here in June if we can get things from WIS in time to get to personnel before June. If not, we would be coming back in July.
Now, is there any interest from this body in requesting that administrative assistance to our council be part of that position?
No,
Okay.
it's dogs and cats sleeping together.
Okay.
Okay. So, does anyone have any other comments, questions? We're just asking to start the process. Okay?
Yeah, I would just say, again, Lee, obviously, we'll call it your honeymoon phase, kind of, right? I mean, you've been around for a long time in the sense of, we've had a lot of positions requested outside of budget cycle, right? And I think we've all been pretty clear. I get there's justifications. I just, again, want to reiterate, like, there's a reason we ask at budget hearings. And so I know you're not saying, that's why I asked, it could wait. You can start the process and then ask as such, but
I understand, and I addressed that in my letter. I know you guys are reticent to add new positions midstream. I wouldn't be asking if we didn't think it was critical, given the multiple areas that are covered. Whether it's the front desk out here, the back desk back there, the VA area that has influx of activity and needs additional support. This position would kind of be a utility position that would be available to assist in all three of those areas to help, so that we can have those critical, I'll call it constituent or civilian interaction points covered at all point in time, so that we don't have people coming here and standing unable to get help, either there or back in the VA area or back in the commissioner and council chamber area.
We have a process in place, and I recognize that it's we don't know what timing he's gonna come back with it to us. We'll deal with it and address it then. Seeing no other comments, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for wanting to move forward with the process. Thank you.
Yep. At this time, I'm gonna open the public hearing. First item is general fund. We have a addition for account for commissioners for $828,000. Judge Steve Nation. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
A second?
second.
Okay.
This is on the nickel plate, and it's the discussion between doing the roads. I think Brad made the comment during the during the joint meeting that he was not opposed to it was county road and the railroad, and this is where they were.
So this was the same amount, right, that was presented to us, and we
Yeah.
asked for a breakdown,
So
whether or not
you're saying it's
intersection.
only intersections, it's
Well-
not rail repair?
Right.
At the meeting, you were asked for a breakdown. I
Yeah.
did not see the breakdown.
Then I'm gonna remove my second.
I found that the information was presented to the Board of Commissioners on 3/27.
Okay, so
Well,
this
then
didn't
let's
get to
drag
us.
Lee Buckingham back up here.
If you want to look at that, and I can make you a copy. But that's what I found on our records. So
We also have people here from the railroad.
Okay. Bring him on up.
It's on the intersection.
it was about 8 That's what I found.
Okay, great. Just state your name and if you could just provide some clarity to the 828,000.
Sure. So my name is Emily Reynolds. I'm the Executive Director for Nickel Plate Heritage Railroad. Tony Dickover, Treasurer of the Board.
And Brett Morrow, President of the Board.
So we submitted to the commissioners 2 months ago a breakdown of what that $828,000 would look like. I apologize. We thought that was submitted to you guys today with your paperwork. It prioritized the crossings, so there was $234,800 spent on the crossings. And then the additional money was being requested for rail repair. That is just very important right now for rail safety.
Just real quick, I made a mistake. We don't have a second on this.
I'll
make
second.
it.
Okay, sorry, continue.
If anybody would like a copy, I'd be happy to, it has notes all over
She's
it,
gonna
so pass
make
it around.
Yeah.
Perfect.
She's making the copies.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope you appreciate this is coming to us cold without the breakdown. Could you talk a little about, while she's making copies, what other sources of revenue have you gone after? What grants have you applied for? What federal funding? What other steps have you taken besides coming to council?
So if you're not familiar with the way the railroad is, we are leasing that line from Hoosier Heritage Port Authority, which is a government entity. They own the line, which makes it a little hard for us to source grants because we don't own that line. So almost all of our revenue is coming from ticket revenue, which we are running that train every single weekend almost this year trying to keep up. We inherited a line that needed a lot of love. We took out the first loan, and thanks to Hamilton County Tourism, that loan was paid off, which did quite a bit of sale we have. But we're just at this point where as a small nonprofit, we just can't make enough revenue right now to put in that money that needs to make sure that the rails are safe, the crossings are safe, and our passengers are safe. We've created a 5-year plan that we can start investing money. We're charging a $2 historic preservation fee per ticket that's going away in a pot that will be there to continue rail rehabilitation after this. But we just, right now, are requesting you guys to help fund this so we can get these rails up to the level that they need to be for passenger safety.
Have you provided council or commissioners with your income statement or your balance sheet?
We did. We provided all of our financials to the commissioners.
Anybody else on council seen those?
Not this.
And I don't know if in detail, but I know that we sat down and talked through
Yeah.
some of those issues. I'm certain that was probably, it wasn't a balanced statement like you were probably looking for, but I'd seen some of it when we,
And
I
I've
think that
seen
was
some
originally
financials as well.
several months ago. So, okay, well, with that, if you were, one of the issues, I mean, Brad, when we looked at this was that it was on intersection improvements, the rail safety and that, correct?
Yeah,
That was, I think, of the 828,000, and while she's printing that up, can
it was
you,
$250,000, wasn't it?
For crossings specifically, yes.
okay.
So that's $500,000-600,000. Look, I like the train. I'm glad you're doing it. I appreciate all the effort you put into it, but our job's strictly financial. And my feeling is this is a tourist attraction, and the tourism board ought to keep pumping money into it. I'm perfectly happy to fix our intersections, but I think it's a tourist attraction, and the visitor bureau money ought to be funneling towards this and help keeping it running. That's my opinion.
Well, that's kind of why I was asking, what other places have you gone? Have you gone back to tourism and asked for the delta between the 234 for crossings and the 828,000 you're asking for?
Brenda could give you exact, here she comes, to give you some exact money as to what they've invested into us.
Appreciate that. That wasn't my question. Have you
Yeah,
asked her
no.
for the difference?
We don't want history.
With tourism, they just paid off our first rail rehabilitation.
Appreciate that.
this year,
Have you
so
asked her for the difference?
We have not.
Okay.
Well, this railway is owned by the county, so it is our residents and our visitors that are riding that, and our family members and neighbors. So the safety of that railway, just like the safety of our roads, is our, it's our responsibility. So I support them coming to us and us paying for what's needed to fix those
I'm
rail
sorry, did I
lines.
misunderstand? I thought you said the Port Authority owned the rail.
You own the rail line with Fishers of the city of Noblesville and.
Okay. So it's not the Port Authority doesn't own the rail?
Yeah, and she meant that, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the Port Authority owns the land under the rails. They probably own the rails too, don't they? The Port Authority?
I believe you are then.
You are the Port Authority.
We are one-third partner
Right.
in the
One
Port
third.
In
Authority.
the Port Authority, yeah.
Yeah. Right, no, I'm fully aware. I was here when we bought it. I remember.
I don't believe that.
So, I understand your position, Sue. I don't disagree with you, that's why I'm willing to keep up our intersection. I still feel like it's a tourist attraction, and tourism ought to chip in.
And I believe they have to a great extent, as has the city of Noblesville.
Well, you know, we spend money on our highways every year.
Yeah.
And I believe that they have, I've studied their financials, and they have the ability to do that in the future. It's just the amount of decline on the railroads that the first $500,000 or so that we were able to put into it is just not enough. And
Would-
so,
You know, when I met, I think that what the issue is that they inherited a tracks that were just not safe when they inherited them. And that the initial, they knew that there was gonna be repairs coming, it was not addressed early. And now we are at a situation where it's unsafe, or, certainly the intersections are unsafe and need to be brought up, but that the, rail lines as they are in a situation where they need to be, brought up to a certain standard. They should have been happened a long time ago.
Well, I guess the question though, because we keep hearing unsafe, but it's still running all the time,
Yeah.
right? So I want to be clear. How
Well,
unsafe is it if it's still running?
I-
That's
I
all
wrote
I'm
on
just
it.
saying. That's
I
a
wrote on it a
big
couple years
word-
ago.
Well, a couple years ago versus if it's unsafe, and
Well,
that's what I
it
keep
was-
hearing.
It was.
Should
it
we be
was-
operating it?
they did some resurfacing, and that did help Brad, that did help
We
significantly.
would not be running if we were unsafe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
clarification for the public, that it's not unsafe to be on the train
We
as
have
of
the
today.
rails inspected every week. We're looking at some major repairs. Every week he gives me a report. There are a lot of things on there that need addressed, but he says they're still safe to be running, yes.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
The other issue, there was a 2.5 year period, which we all went through with COVID. It was myself, Tony, our prior executive director, and we were meeting trying to figure out, you realize our only income source is people on the train, and you take away our people on the train.
Right.
Our insurance alone was $4,000 a month, our train payment was $7,000 a month, and we were basically insolvent. And we went from, a year and a half ago, having $1,000 in our checking account, to now we're actually running and operating, and we can get back to our budget to where we can put those funds away for that improvement. But we're also 2.5 years behind there, and the initial plan was like a 5-year plan. We're 4 years into that, and we do have, like anything, safety is our paramount concern. We will not run the train if it is not safe.
But if the train doesn't run, then the train goes away.
We're gone.
Did this ever get considered by ARPA, with ARPA funds? Did it qualify? That was,
We did have ARPA funds, we used it for salaries from January to April.
PPP.
okay, yeah, no, sorry,
I don't think I
different.
qualified for your, although I did try.
Okay, I didn't know if you had tried.
I did try.
Okay.
So Emily hasn't, she said she hasn't asked tourism for dollars, so are you tapped out? So nothing?
They will, if we, I sent an email today, if we do get this best fund developed, they can come back in for group experience enhancements and absolutely do that. But, the rail line would not, we've invested 1.2 million in the startup of it, and they would have to come back in, and they will, I'm sure that, I know this lady, and they will come back in and ask for money for group experience enhancement. I mean, the wonderful thing about the train is they can carry over 200 passengers a trip, right?
Oh, I love, that's where I'm headed. So Emily, are you open to a splitting the baby approach? What if the council paid for the council's part and we loaned you the difference, and since you said you're profitable, you can pay back that money over the course of the next X number of years?
We would be 100% open to it. The more work we can do at one time, the more money we're gonna save everyone too. So,
It's
coming at it with
just
a big
another
lump
alternative to
sum
save the
helps
taxpayers a few
everyone.
$100,000.
Okay, just so that we can you have a clarification to see if the person that has the motion is okay with that? We have an 8, well, I know, but where it's coming from. We have a motion
My only concern about a loan is that there's gonna be future, there's not a one-time requirement of fixing the rail line. There's gonna be, like a car or a house, there's always something coming up, and that fund is gonna be needed down the road, not necessarily.
I'm suggesting we would have pretty favorable terms, but if they're cash flowing, which they've all said they are, if they're profitable, which they've all said they are, this income statement says they're profitable, they should be able to pay the money back, other than what we're responsible for, which would be the intersection.
Well, we have a motion on the floor, and I'm gonna call the vote, and if that fails, then we can come back and look at something else. So the call is for the $828,000 in full. So that is the current, who had the motion?
I had,
You had
I
the second,
second.
I had the
Oh,
motion.
is that
They
accurate?
wanted to change those.
828.
Yep.
Are you wanting to change that?
No, I'll accept your guidance as to go through
Okay.
the vote here.
So we're moving forward with that vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Opposed.
I think there's a better option.
Okay, there's 4.
Don't come back. I'm just kidding.
All right, well, it passes, thank you.
5-2.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item. County Administration 144, pretrial. Do I have a motion?
What is the request, 144?
What? Motion to approve for discussion.
Second.
Okay.
He's here.
Amy, you made that? and
I did.
Steve, did you second?
Yes.
Sorry, thank you.
I got behind.
If you remember, he was here last month. I
Yes.
assume you went
Yep.
back to personnel and
Yeah, so that's four new positions?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
The 3 officers, a screening analyst, and 1 full-time support staff person.
Yeah, and,
There should have been some additional information, but
we gotta hold
Oh,
back.
yeah.
I know I overspoke last time, so
You're
I'm gonna
fine.
just be quiet and answer
You're
questions, or
fine.
I can share more if you would like me to.
Any questions?
Can you help me understand how much of that funding is coming from the Supreme Court versus how much is really coming out of the county? Yeah, I'm thinking unfunded mandate, that's what I'm trying to understand.
Well, none of us come from
None.
the Supreme Court.
none of it.
So you get no funding at all from,
We get some funding
what-
from the Supreme Court, yes.
how much?
Office of Court Services, and we get some from the Department of Corrections, community supervision grants through JRAC. So we get a total, it's under $200,000 now that we get.
It's not going towards these.
But
It's
we're
not going-
these
it's not going towards
positions. No,
these.
they're the 3 other supervision officers that I have, it is funding the salaries of those 3, but last fall for this year, you agreed to pay for the benefits out of county general because we didn't have enough money for that even.
I don't understand what JRAC means, I'm sorry, I
Oh, I'm
don't know
sorry,
the
the
acronym.
Justice Reinvestment Advisory
Thank you.
Council.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'm gonna call a question. This is for adding the
Four new
county
county
employees.
employees. 4.
We put him through the runner last month, so.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm opposed.
I'm opposed.
I'm opposed. I think it passes 4-3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item. Sheriff 144 amendments. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
This deputy over here looks like he wants to.
Got a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd be glad to clarify if I can help.
that would be great. Any questions, comments?
What are we getting?
We're one of the polls, right?
No, this is just an amendment.
This amendment?
This was
Amendment?
This was not one.
Do you know what this one's about?
Yes, sir.
Please.
We have 2 deputies that will be getting specialty pay that we're asking for, in association with our canine tracking team for starting up a crisis negotiation unit, which will help with de-escalation for those special teams. So that each officer, that when they have special training and extra standards that they have to keep, that
eligible for one specialty pay. So this would be the highest one that they would be eligible for, which is $1,500 a year for each officer. That's Deputy Brian Melton and Deputy Adam Crone. So they would be part of that crisis negotiations unit in association with the K-9 tracking team. So we're asking for $1,500 per deputy, and that would stop if they stopped their commitment with the special team or weren't able to make the stand.
Okay, good enough.
Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Next item, we have a survey transfer for $20,660.
And
Yep, sorry.
I had one more as well. I don't know if it was on your list. We have a promotion for a youth care worker.
They were all in.
Yeah, they're all on.
They're all on,
They were.
yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yep. Nothing else.
Yep. Do I have a motion for the surveyor transfer?
So
So,
moved.
second.
Okay. All right. Available amount to transfer private complaint, complaint inspector position to offset expenses. Is anyone from the surveyor's office here? Any questions that I, okay?
No.
Now, the surveyor's here.
Yep, oh, there he is.
You got questions over a transfer?
No, I don't, I was about to.
You got up off the couch for nothing, Ken.
Is there any
Part of
questions?
your exercise program?
There it is.
All right.
We're trying to keep your cholesterol down.
Thank you.
Okay.
So this was, I do have a question. So this is offsetting, you're putting towards an inspector to offset contracting costs. Is that, how is that? You're doing this internal?
What this is, we have the private complaint inspector position we've not been able to fill yet. It's been over a year now, and
So you're moving it through the contract side?
a portion of that is plan review. And we have contracted with Banning Engineering to take care of that portion of that job description.
Okay. All right, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next item, Fund 1159, health transfer for $3,000.
Second.
Okay. Questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Fund 1219, Parks and Recreation requesting, we've got, this was originally for the full, with the million, but we pulled that, so it's just the $375,000 for the William House restoration.
So moved.
Second.
Okay,
This is money for the Williams House restoration, which is at Cox Hall Gardens over on 116th and, what is
Town.
that street? Town, thank you.
Yep.
And it is that very old Italianate, 1850s, I think, house. There's Mr. Stice and one of our community historical treasures, so.
Definitely.
Chris is one of those
Oh,
treasures?
Here it is. It is.
I feel like that's under
You have so few of them.
historical, not
So-
treasure. Yeah, in your packet there, I just put together some information for a brief overview, and this is at Cox Hall Gardens, which was donated by Jesse and Beulah Cox in 1999. And this is for the restoration of the Williams House that was built in 1865. It was one of our original settlers here in Hamilton County. And to preserve that Italian 8-style home, which is significant into Hamilton County because it is the only publicly accessible structure from that era. So that's significant for public to be able to access that and to see that. So as part of our research, we are looking to put it out on the National Historical Registry as part of the studies and work that we're continually doing, as well as working with Ball State University right now with their master's program in regards to the architectural and historical preservation in our graduate program. So they've been on site and they've done studies previously on the structure to give us the issues associated with it and what that plan would be to bring that up to be restored into that era. So we have received all of the funds for this project from the Friends of Hamilton County Parks, $375,000. So we have received a check for this project from them, and we've deposited it, and we are asking for the appropriations for those funds. And If you look in your packet there, it's already had some press from receiving that check from the foundation, as well as just some location areas there in Coxall Gardens and master plan, so.
Yeah, I'd met with the Friends of Hamilton County Parks, and I think this is a wonderful opportunity. I love partnerships like this. The interesting thing is they're not just for you, they're for any park service that they go and they try and touch and improve all the park systems within Hamilton County. It's a great program. Good to have them as a partner. Any comments, questions?
I think the key here is not general fund money.
Agreed.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
We appreciate that, Chris.
Opposed? All right, thank you.
There you go, thank you.
All right, Fund 1222, Public Safety Communications, E911 and 144 amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any comments or questions?
We're gonna have the head guy come and give us the spiel.
Yeah, and I would
Alright.
just say, I did ask him a question related to the calculations, because anytime that we have an adjustment, right, or a adjustment from a classification, we use a formula. And I'll let him explain it. It calculated at a BL3. I was kind of saying it should stay at a BL3, but after discussion, he's requested at a BL4. And if you want to give that info, which I'm comfortable with based on the explanation, but if you want to provide that specifically.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Wright is currently a supervisor with us at a Polk K, PL1, and her base salary is $63,645. If you approve my request, she would go into her role off the floor at a Pat B, BL4 at $66,852. That's a difference of $3,207 annually. If not approved, she actually will not get a raise at all. She'll probably lose a little money with her shift differential and stuff. So I'm before you today. I don't want any employee to take a pay cut. You know, if anything, I'm gonna fight for them, and that's why I'm here. So I'm asking for a BL4, which will exceed her current salary. She's going in a different position by $3,207 annually.
So just to clarify, she's at $63,645 currently,
Yes,
and you're requesting $66,852.
at a Pat B.
And the
BL4.
BL3 calculation had come back at $64,484. So you're saying that based on the shift differential, it still wouldn't equate to an increase. Sorry, I just want to be clear on the numbers.
Yes,
So that $1,200 really becomes obsolete, is what I'm hearing.
yes.
Any other comments, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Well, he's up on the next one.
Yeah. Fund 1235, PSAP lit requesting 1 million. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right.
What are you gonna do with that $1 million?
Well,
Yeah.
if I could speak to it, so I gave you all the info there, so I probably overloaded you. It's actually, all those added up are 2 million if you read my letter. So what you're voting on today is the 1 million, and then I will be on your June agenda to have the balance of that. But anyway, this whole package before you is to purchase radios, and as I elaborated in my letter, you approving this is great because a radio is like a fire truck. I order it today, it's about 20 to 25 weeks for us to get it in hand. And we have to be ahead of the game as we all, I think, would agree, so.
And so I know that there's a lot of different projects that are going into this, and I've asked the commissioners, and they're working on getting a revenue, sort of how that's being spent down, so that can be worked with the PSAP council, and so that we're not overspending anything, that we have all the projects that we're looking to plan for, that they're accounted for, and we can live within those.
Next year in our budget, that will be included. We're working now on ironing that out, because it's gonna be a huge upgrade in these radios next year, but we'll have that before you to consider for our budget next year.
Any other questions?
Are these the radios that eliminate more of the dead spots? That switch from
No,
Wi-Fi to?
No, the dead spots would be eliminated through additional radio tower, which is a whole separate conversation. These radios will allow us to keep up with our current output. You know, the agencies are hiring, we have radios break, so, and we always have to have a little bit of, you know, extra for those reasons. So we're getting low, this will help us.
So these are still the older models?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay.
The ones you're looking at are the newer ones.
You're never gonna let me come out to your place again and ask questions, are you?
Anybody's welcome to come out.
Yeah, there was like the dead spot in the Levinson, some of the things like that
Yes.
with repeaters that we were talking about. I didn't know if these were replacements in the older technology or if we're actually beginning to take the step up in the
Some
new.
of these do have technology in place to go through a cell connection and an internet connection. If, you know, you have to work with the entity. So we do have ways around it, but it's part of next year's push that you all will see our proposal once we get the big number ironed out.
Gotcha, thanks.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Closing is the grants in the public hearing as well?
You've got
We
one
have
more
to do that
additional
one more.
inspection.
Oh, I'm
fund.
sorry, I missed that one, thank you. Fund 4906,
yourself, Ken.
Highway Inspection Fund requesting 25,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, so this is just money that we work with our developers, get paid for, and it's reimbursed to us, correct, Brad?
Correct. We've already got the money into
Okay,
we are the inspector, so we're, all on the base for that.
great. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. But the grants, they're not part of the public hearing, so close the public hearing now?
They are
They are?
part of
Okay.
it. Mr. President, I make a motion to combine items H1 through 5 and grant
Second.
appropriations.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Make a motion to approve items H1 through 5 and the grant appropriations.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Announcements. Oh, closing the public hearing. Announcements, sure.
I don't have any announcements. The SCAT grant was the only thing I had that was previous. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Council Attorney,
Nothing for the group?
Auditor.
I have nothing.
I've asked that we save one more item, and Brad, I'd like you to, if you say a few words about
Yeah.
our former council.
I want to take a minute and just recall brother of ours, Paul Ayers, who passed away in the last week or so. Paul spent 8 years on the county council. I'll just tell you from my personal experience, I got to know Paul previous to him being on the county council. He was a member of the Carmel Clay Republican Club. Now, I'm from Noblesville, but I run at large, so it's always good to go around and see other Republicans around the county, so I would go down to Carmel Clay at their events, cookouts, whatever they had, and Paul was in charge. So I met him and knew who he was there. Then several years later, he ran and was successful becoming a member of the county council. I already knew him, but after he became a council member and I got to know him better, we became fast friends. Paul was an ex-Marine, staunch Catholic family man. I think he had 7 children. And he was a few years older than me, but philosophically we were close on almost everything. And so I got to know him real well. My wife and I went out with his wife to different social occasions and whatnot. I got to know him, and he was a good friend of mine. He was a good county counselor. And what I want to say about Paul was, we didn't agree on 100%, probably 95. But you talk to him, he'd tell you where he was at, and once he had made a decision, that was the decision. No matter what happened from there forward, you didn't have to worry about Paul wishy-washy, changing his mind. If he was with you, if he was against you, he was against you. But there was, once he had looked at the issue and made a decision, that was the decision. And he was a good county councilor. He spent 2 terms, and I will miss him.
Amy, and only 2 people were on this council were able to serve with him, and Paul was always good to me. I'm the one who ran when he chose not to run for his seat again, and it's big shoes to fill. But he's always been wonderful to me every time I met with him, and just a wonderful person. But I know, Amy, you served with him as well.
Yeah, and I don't want to cry, which you talking makes me just want to tear up so much. I actually was lucky enough to know the Ayers family in high school. I went to school with Paul's daughter, Sarah, and so This reconnection on council was a moment of, kind of happenstance. I really hadn't been around the air as much since high school, and my youngest son also is very close with his grandson in the Catholic community going to St. Louis de Montfort. And so it hit like a ton of bricks in a lot of different ways. He was a pleasure, and I could always hear him saying, "Hey, kid," because when I joined, I was 29, and I was the kid. So fond memories. I am devastated still, and again, and will continue to be, but it was a pleasure to serve with them. As much as I wasn't on the side of the Four Horsemen, I will have fond memories. So thank you for the opportunity.
With that, I'm going to thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.